What's up, YouTube? Glicklet here again, here for another episode of Let's Play Puzzles, and we're gonna jump right back into Falcross here, and we're gonna do some more Picross puzzles. I'm only gonna do Picross for probably this episode again, and then we're gonna jump into some other kind of puzzles for your enjoyment, well, and mine, but just mainly for your enjoyment. I'll have to expend the brain power. You won't. You can just watch and be amused. There are so many other kinds of puzzle apps that are on the Play Store. Check that I actually know how to do, but we will get better together, and I also have a lot of surprises for you in store as well. So let's get started right away. Let's call up, we did Tiny Farm last time. Let's do some kindergarten. Why not? And I apologize if the video is a little bit blurry. I'm recording this on my phone screen recorder. I don't have a computer at the moment, so I can't edit this professionally. If you look down under the one, you can see my S Pen cursor. I hope you can see it. I'm going to try to keep it on screen at all times. Again, this video is optimized for viewing on portrait orientation on mobile devices and iPads and other tablets. I tried, folks. I tried to make the S Pen cursor bigger. I looked all over Google and Reddit. I even went into the developer options. No dice. So I'm going to do my best to keep describing where I'm looking in the puzzle if you can't see the cursor. So we'll do it that way. And we're going to stick to our guiding principles in Picross. The three principles of the edge, the blank space, and the wall of X's. And I'll touch on those again. I know I mentioned them briefly in the last episode, but I did have a bit of a cold, so I couldn't really express myself too clearly. But now I'm fit as a fiddle, and we're ready to go, and we're going to get these puzzles done. Okay, so first thing, and this is the first thing I talked about last time, big numbers. We got a 5. We fill in the whole row because it's a 5 by 5. They gave us a row with zeros. That means there's nothing, so it's all X's. We just filled in the 5 in a row in this row, and if you look on the leftmost column, it's telling you already solved the 1 at a time in this column, and that brings in the blank space principle, and this only applies when you're doing Picross puzzles where you're filling in, it's only one color instead of multicolored, and this basically expresses that in between painted blocks of each numerical clue, such as 1 and then 1, or 2 and then 2, or 2 and then 3, or whatever, there's always going to be a blank space in between those numbers of painted blocks. So see, I've already filled in the 1 here in the leftmost column, so there will be a blank in between. And then there's going to be another 1 somewhere else in the column. We just don't know where yet. So let's fill in the big number on the bottom. And incidentally, we just found the other 1. So we'll fill in the X there for that leftmost column. And without even doing anything, we solved the 1 and the 1 here. So now our only remaining clues in the rows are 3 and then 3 in the middle row, and then the row under it, and then 4 in a row in the middle 3 columns. And we can see we can do those all at once. For example, in the middle row, we do 3. Let's say in the middle column, we fill in the 4, because you have pieces of painted blocks, but they all have to be connected because they're all one solid piece. So let's do 4. And we can see we can fill in the last row very much the same way. And we've got a fancy top hat. All right. We are stepping out on the town tonight. I don't know about you. I'm wearing sweatpants. I'm not stepping out anywhere in any kind of hat that looks like that. Maybe my Yankees hat, that's as far as I go. For those who like to arrive in style, says a little eagle. Not sure what he would know about stylish wearing of clothes, but anyway, I digress. Next puzzle. So big numbers. 5, 5, right? Okay, now we see in the bottom row, we've already solved the 1 at the time just by solving the big numbers, so we can eliminate that. We see we've actually done that for several more places. In these rows, we've solved the 1 at the time. The rightmost row or column, we've solved it here. Leftmost column, we solved it here. And we see that for the second to bottommost row, the clue is 3, and there's only room for 3, so we fill it in. A golden spinning top. Hey, listen. Okay, I know a dreidel when I see one. Just saying. If you can't make it to the 1%, just pretend you're on top with this expensive top. Alright. Mr. Eagle's social commentary aside. Let's do another one, shall we? Let's see. Big numbers. Okay. Now we're going to use the blank space principle again. Because we've, in the second row from the top, we've solved a single 1, and because the paint is all one color, we know that there's got to be a blank space on either side. So we'll use the blank space principle and fill in X's like that. We got some more 5s. On the top row, we see we've got pieces of blank spot, or of painted spots. We know the clue is a 3, so the only logical step is to join them. Now, that top row is completely done because all the numbers are orange, so we know everything else has to be an X. In the middle column, we've solved the single 1, and the rest of the clue is a 3. We have our blank from the blank space principle. Then it goes 1, 2, this has to be 3, and we've solved it. What is it? Goldilocks. Okay. Perfect for securing jewelry, documents, and terrifyingly long lengths of hair. Are you sure that's not supposed to be Rapunzel? I'm confused. Okay. What I'm going to do, I have a little bit of time left. I'm going to actually back out of this. I want to show you a couple of 10 by 10s, if I can. These are a little bit more challenging, but they're actually not too much harder than the 5 by 5s. You just have to make good use of your principles. And there's actually a couple of more principles you can use that come in very handy. And I'll show you those now. So this is a 10 by 10 in everyday things. So we can use the principles we already know to start off with. Big numbers. I made a mistake there. Try not to make too many mistakes on Falcross because there's a lives counter up in the top left. I don't want to let those run out. So I've solved the big number, which takes up the whole column. Now we see that we've solved several single 1s by the orange numbers on the left. So we'll put in our X's for the blank space principle. Like that. Now let's go all the way over to the right. The clue is a 9. So what we'll do is we'll count out to the extreme ends. So I'm going to count from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to fill that in. And then I'm going to count up from the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are the two extreme ends of the 9, and I'm going to connect them. Basically, the reason we're doing this is because we know the 9 is going to leave one space blank in that column. You just don't know if it's going to be at the top or the bottom. But you know the middle will always be in play, so you can fill that in. Let's make use of our edge principle. Now that we've got the column all the way on the right filled in, this is a great time to make use of the edge principle, which basically states that a painted block on the edge has to project out the numerical clue, that painted block, that painted block clue from that point. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Second from the top row, the clue all the way on the right is a 4. It's a 3 and then a 4. And you've got a painted block in the rightmost column, so that's got to be the end of the 4. Oh, how do I undo? It's not letting me undo. Alright. So, we know that clues the 4. Blank space principle. We don't know where the 3 is going to fall just yet, so let's leave that alone. Now, third row down, we have the 7. We have a block on the rightmost edge, so let's count out 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that makes the 7 with the block that was already there. That finishes the row, so let's do that. We see we've solved the 2 1s in the next row down, so we can actually just finish off that row now. Blank space principle here for this rightmost one. We can count out another 7 like this for that row. Blank space here. Now, believe it or not, for that row where I just put the blank space, we can actually finish this row. Because look at the clue. This is the 4th row from the bottom, 4th row up. The clue is 2, 1, and 1. If you look from the right, we've got 1 and 1. On the left, there can only be 2. And the clue tells you not only which blocks to paint of how many, but in which order. So we know the 2 has to be all the way on the left. So we're going to paint that there, and that finishes the row. Blank space here because we finished the rightmost one. And let's count out 7, and then the rest of the clue on the left is a 2. That can go there. And I think that's all we can deduce from having filled out that rightmost column for now. So let's look for some more logical steps. We can actually do that. Now, let's see. Okay, let's utilize the wall of X's in the 4th column from the right. Look at the top. You've got an X in the 4th row down, and then coming up from it, you have 2 painted blocks. Well, the topmost clue in that column is a 3. And it can't go down past that X, so it's got to go up. So that's our 3. We can actually keep applying the principle. If you look down, you have a painted block and then another X below it. So this has to be our next 2 in the clue. Now we don't know where the other 2 will fall just yet, so let's keep poking around. So let's look at the 5th row from the left. I'm waggling my cursor over it. I don't know if you can see it. The clue is 3, 1, and 1. So if you look from the bottom, we have our 1 and our 1. So we're missing a 3. We have a wall of X's towards the top, and then the painted block is there, and there's only 2 blanks above it, so we know that's got to be our 3. If we look right next to that, we see that column is actually solved, the 1, 1, and 1. So let's finish that off. Now let's go back to the topmost row. We see the clue is 2 and 3. We've got an X, a 2, an X, so we know the 3 has to be next, and there's a wall of X's to its left, so we can put the remaining block there. Now we actually, by logical deduction, can solve the rightmost column with the 9. We know that the 9 can't end at the top, because then that would make 4 in a row in the top row, and the limit is 3, 2, and 3. So we know that by deduction, the top row has to have an X here, which means the 9 has to project downward here. And we've solved in the bottom row the rightmost one, so we do our blank space principle. And since Falcross tells you which clue and where it is solved by painting the number orange, we can actually fill these in. We know that the remaining 2 in the bottom row has to go here. And we can connect these fragments here to make this 4 and solve the row, or solve the column. Same here. And we see that by logical deduction, this cell has to be painted to solve the single 1 in the third column from the right. And we see the only other remaining spot that makes sense is in the fourth column from the right. We have a 3, a 2, and a 2 is the clue. And in the chart, we have 3, 2, a blank, and a painted block. Due to the wall of X's, we have to make the remaining painted block, go here. And it's a dresser. I have to say, that doesn't look like my dresser. I don't know. My dresser doesn't have a lot of blank spaces in between the wood, but that's just me. The Eagle says it was a great deal at IKEA. Well, I'm glad you think so, and I'm glad you were able to put it together. Good for you. I'd like to see how you did that. So let's end the video here. Next video, I'm probably going to be trying a different kind of puzzle, and we'll do a couple of those for a couple episodes, and then we'll move on to something else, or go back and do some more Picross. It remains to be seen, and I really hope you're enjoying these videos. Please leave a like, and please subscribe so you can catch up on all the puzzle action as soon as it happens. Again, this is Paul Plays Puzzles. I'm intending this to be kind of a let's play instead of a tutorial. I see a lot of puzzle tutorials on YouTube, but none that are kind of like an ongoing let's play, so I wanted to try to do something a little different and share my love of puzzles with everybody, and kind of teach everybody how to do them as well. So, with that said, I'm going to be signing off. This is Paul. Everybody calls me Glickglad. This has been Paul Plays Puzzles. And always remember to train your brain. Have a good night.